I'm Tim Mitchell. These are my stories.
There's an empty room, smell of heartbreak and cheap perfume, photos scattered across my wall. Maybe someday I'll take them off, but I miss you.
Hi, folks. Having a good day today. Let me be the first to welcome you to Autism Rocks Rails. Now, before we begin, I must note that I am not a doctor or psychiatrist. If your son or daughter is diagnosed with autism, please see a physician. I only speak on based on my experiences. I also do not own the rights to these music. Both music was found on YouTube and it was published on November 2011 and April 2016. Now, I have some shouts I need to give. So, my first shout is to Miss Molly Dang. She is the host of the podcast, The Art You Are. Check out this podcast to see how she is empowering individuals to tell their life stories. My second shout out is to Paul Miller. He is the owner of the Freetown Free Spill podcast. He also is a musician and interviews all kinds of people on his show. I was recently on his show too, and it was actually a fun time. So thank you, Paul, and I hope you're doing well. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Temple Grandin for being on my show. She was on the show, and you should check this episode. I was really good, and it was an honor to have her on my show. So thank you, Dr. Grandin. Now, today we also have another big guest on my show. We want to welcome Mr. James Durbin. Mr. Durbin finished 4th place on the 10th season of American Idol. Durbin was also the lead singer of Quiet Riot from 2017 to 2019. Durham was diagnosed with Asperger's and Tourette's as a child, and he has definitely beat the odds. He has appeared on the Late Night Show with Jimmy Fallon and Ellen, and now he is here on the Autism Rocks and Rolls podcast. He loves pro wrestling like me, so that's awesome, and is a rocker, and he plays very awesome music. So let's welcome James Durbin. Mr. Durbin, how are you, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm all right. So my first question to you is, what does having autism mean to you?
I think it really sets me apart. I'm very proud to have autism. I am very, maybe not proud, but happy. I am happy that I am who I am. And just because I have what I have doesn't make me any less than anyone else.
Yeah, we are definitely unique, man. Can you elaborate, though? Like, what made you so happy about having it, I guess?
I think I'm more happy to have it now than I was growing up. I mean, when I found out that I had it, I thought that I was an alien. I thought I was an alien already. And then when I found out that I had it, I thought that I was definitely had to be from some other planet. And that would also explain my obsession with E.T.
E.T., go home.
Phone home, phone.
Now, how do you think our brains operate exactly? Like, do you have any analogy you can give, or?
No, I have no idea. I think that my brain kind of operates like an old box of Legos, like an old set of Legos, where it's like, or even an old box where it's just all these random Lego pieces in one big old box. And you've got to sift through it and find the right pieces you're looking for. And sometimes it takes a long time. I try and operate, knowing my brain, I try and operate like a new box of Legos that comes in individually wrapped sets, and each step is in its own bag, so to speak. So that's how I guess how I try to operate these days.
Yeah, I operate, maybe you guys like sift through the piece like you said, but I operate maybe like, I always think of myself as a pinball. Like if you want to see the episode C111 pinball action, that's a good episode, but that's how I always think we operate, is like a big old giant pinball machine.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Thank you.
I've got a lot of flashing lights and buzzers and flaps. What are they called? Flippers? Flippers.
Yeah,
I got a lot of flippers.
Flaps, same thing, right?
Yeah, flippers, flappers.
What is the most rewarding and most difficult thing about having autism?
I think the most rewarding and the most difficult thing, I mean, they kind of go hand in hand for me. I'd say there's a lot of difficulties, there's a lot of obstacles with it, and just kind of being understanding. I guess that's the most difficult thing is for people to be understanding of those with autism, because we don't operate the exact same way. We have a different thought process. Sometimes there's no thought process. And
Yeah.
sometimes, I think it's just having understanding of that and having compassion for that. But I think the most rewarding thing about it is I don't let it stop me. And I think that the reward is the ability to inspire people.
Yeah, that is a really big ability to inspire and motivate those who need some motivation in their lives.
Exactly. I think the most rewarding thing is having gotten to give back and having gotten to show others that anything is possible regardless of, what obstacle is put in your way.
What advice would you give to someone who just learned they had autism?
Take a deep breath. Don't worry, you're still the same you. This doesn't define you. This does not make you or break you. This doesn't make you something else entirely all of a sudden, because you were already you before you were diagnosed, and you're just the same you with new circumstances.
I would agree with that, actually. Just some new circumstances and a new part of you, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, you're more like, it's like if you had a tail but you didn't know it was a tail, and someone says, "Hey, you have a tail," and you're like, "Oh, that's what that is." It was already there. Now I'm just aware of it.
I was aware of it, exactly.
Yeah.
So now, what was your childhood like?
Childhood was great. Childhood was awesome. I got picked on a lot at school for kind of being different and making my Tourette's and making the noises and tics and things and being just socially awkward. But I mean, I was very, I think my Asperger's contributed to my many different obsessions of different things, obsessions with different movies and franchises. I'd get into Toy Story, but I would know the entire script front to back, beginning to end. I'd have every line memorized. I'd know all the characters' names and backstories forward and backward.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. I'm telling you that right now. That is very impressive. And also, when you went to school or just in your family, what resources did your family give you or your mother?
Oh, my mom was great. My mom was very supportive, still is, actually. Still extremely supportive and understanding. And, it was she raised me and my two sisters, single mom, on top of making a living and, making enough money to support us in our endeavors, and then learning how to parent a child with autism and Tourette's. I remember she was always very kind of, I don't know, maybe proud of the job that she was able to do with the circumstances that she had, because I remember there was 2 different episodes of, I think, Dr. Phil or something back 20 years ago, and one episode was my child has autism. The other episode was my child has Tourette's, and there wasn't like one for, oh, well, where's the episode for my child has both, and it was, she definitely had her hands full, and she did amazing. I only hope that if I was set and given those same circumstances with my kids, that I could do half as good a job that she did.
That is, I think I think with autism needs a good family. Like I'm not saying that. I'm saying like we need a good family.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a good family, so I'm happy to. I could want any other family. Not saying your family's bad or anything. It's just
Yeah,
I want my family.
exactly. I feel the same way.
So now, when were you exactly diagnosed with Asperger's and Tourette's?
I was diagnosed with Asperger's and Tourette's when I was 9. Actually, no, I was 10. I was 10. Yeah.
Now, can you actually do me a favor and describe to me what is Tourette's syndrome actually?
Well, Tourette's is a neurological, they call it a disorder. I call it a condition because it doesn't do anything that super negative to me. It's I am who I am, but it's verbal tics, motor tics, just having to feel the need and the urge to do certain things either with your voice or certain things with your body. A lot of people may have heard of Tourette's in the media as people swearing out loud whenever they want uncontrollably. That's only about 4% of cases of Tourette's, and that certain one is called coprolalia. Mine's pretty, I mean, I still live with it every day. I still have a lot of tics. Ask my wife. she lives with it. I don't live with it. I'm hardly aware of it, but that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell.
All right, I understand. That makes a lot of sense. Now, with Asperger's and Tourette's, are there any like similarities you think, and any differences, maybe in the way you guys think or the way you guys act, or any similars or differences?
I think there's definitely some similarities. It's kind of uncontrollable. You're not really in control with Tourette's, and you're definitely not in control with Asperger's. They're both neurological. I also think that they're both can be kind of relaxed and calmed down with certain, holistic practices. CBD has helped great. THC has helped great. There's a certain root called GABA. GABA has helped great. You can get that at any store, any health food store. And yeah, there's just different things that there's others that I can't think of right now, but there's definitely more
That's all right.
similarities.
I get it. I'm a little out of it today, so I feel you.
Definitely, I'm with you there.
You also, I know you probably went to school, I think. So what school did you go to exactly?
I was in the, what would I call it? The Live Oak School District. I went to Live Oak Elementary School, Shoreline Middle School, SoCal High School. High school was tough. My only outlet in high school was the theater department. And there was a drama teacher there that my sisters had, my older sisters, and I was involved in their plays because they needed, a young kid to play a Cantonese French boy, which I am neither Cantonese nor French, but I played the part. I dyed my hair, tanned my whole body, and wore a sarong and some sandals, some Jesus joggers. And they put me up there on stage and had me sing in French. And that was in South Pacific. That was fun.
What's a sarong?
A sarong, it's kind of like what's a sarong? It's kind of like you can use like a tapestry like this, and you just like put it around your waist.
Oh,
Like,
so it's a robe?
not a robe. Have you seen Moana?
No, I have not.
Okay, I'm trying to think. It's kind of like a Polynesian, kind of like not a skirt, but kind of like a skirt.
Oh,
but
I know what
men-
you're talking
men
about
wear them
now.
too. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay, I just
Yeah.
never knew what they were called. Learned
It's the
something new.
word of the day.
So now I did read about your theater, and you played the roles of Grease and Beauty and the Beast. Did you enjoy those roles?
I definitely did. Yeah, I did a lot of theater. I did. I was Mottle the Tailor in Fiddler on the Roof. I was Freddie Eynsford Hill in My Fair Lady. I was Doyle in The Mask. I was Danny in Grease, Beast in Beauty and the Beast, Tony in West Side Story. There's another one, but it escapes me. Oscar in Sweet Charity, and Don Lockwood in Singing in the Rain.
I'm singing in the rain. No, I'm kidding.
it.
So did theater actually help you in any way?
Theater helped me more than anything. I, as long as I can remember, when I'm performing, my tics, my autism, it just kind of takes a back seat.
Takes
Not-
takes
takes
a
a back
burst out of
seat.
you.
Yeah. There's no traces when I sing. It's like I don't have those things when I get up there and I'm able to sing. And especially with theaters, because I am portraying somebody else. And that person does not have Tourette's or autism. In Danny in Grease doesn't have Tourette's or autism. The Beast, he has, ADHD, and definitely needs to see a therapist. But the Beast doesn't have those things or those conditions. None of the characters I ever played had those conditions, and so I felt free. I felt I could make eye contact with people. I could interact with people in ways that I couldn't offstage. And I had one of my directors. Her name is Robin Aronson. She sat me down one day. She actually talked to my mom and got books on Tourette's and Asperger's and learned what she could about it, about how to help me. And her approach was to basically show me, like, you play these characters on stage. What would the character of James Durbin be that you would write if you were creating a character for yourself that isn't inhibited by, your disorders? Who would that character be? And I went through different changes in that character. Like early on, it was a very Randy Orton, like old school Randy Orton, very cocky, very brash, very just kind of like didn't care. Like, oh, you're going to make fun of me? What do I care? Oh, you're wasting your time thinking about things to be mean to me and do mean things to me. But I am always on your mind. That's was my approach for my bullies. And so if I had never done theater and had never had that outlet and that way to create a new me, so to say, then I don't know where I'd be.
I actually am like that. I didn't even think of it though in a way. Like you said, you're on your mind. That you kind of turn that negative to a positive. I never even thought of that. But I also don't care if people think of me at the same time. So I feel you. So you also formed a band called Hollywood Scars. How did that band form exactly?
How did Hollywood Scars form? Maybe through Craigslist. There was a guy named Pete that was looking to put together a band, and a couple guys in town that I knew had also responded to that, and I just kind of got wrapped up in it. And Pete ended up not working out, so Pete got 86th from the band that he put together. We had fun. Pete's vision wasn't really in line with what everybody else was there to do, and he was kind of a flake. And all of us lived here in Santa Cruz, and he lived in the city, like an hour or so away, so it just kind of didn't work out.
Yeah, I got you. Just life happens. So you also, as we all know, went to where we got to know you. You went on American Idol, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you decide to go on American Idol exactly?
I had auditioned for American Idol in 2008, and I didn't make it past the very first round. Before you ever see the judges, there's like 4 or 5 different rounds that you have to pass, or at least there was then when they had a lot more people auditioning. But I kind of put that behind me and didn't really care or think about American Idol until Steven Tyler from Aerosmith became a judge, and I thought, you know what, if there's ever a time, now's the time. And I was singing in Hollywood Scars around that time, and we had just kind of called it quits with the band, and Idol auditions were coming up. I was working as a pizza delivery driver with Domino's here in Santa Cruz, and I had put in a request for a day off to audition, and they thought I was joking. And they said, we're not going to give you a day off of work to go audition for American Idol. What are you, dumb? And so I just kind of put it to the side. I kept preparing. I kept working on audition songs and all that stuff, thinking, okay, well, when it gets to the date, maybe I'll call in sick. Maybe I'll, maybe something, I just won't show up.
I got the flu.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then I said, I went into work like the day before, and the owners of that certain Domino's franchise called everybody into the back kitchen. I saw there were people that weren't even working there that day. They were there in the back kitchen, and they told all of us, like, we've been running our company on no money. We're fleeing the state. We're closing our business, and we're moving to, Nevada. And all of you guys are out of a job starting tomorrow. And tomorrow was the Idol audition. So,
what a coincidence!
Life has a way of working itself out, and it's crazy.
Hey, it knew you well enough that you were gonna win American Idol.
Right.
Now, speaking of the American Idol, and obviously there were other contestants, duh, but did you become friends with any of the other contestants from American Idol?
Oh, all of them. All of them my season. All of them season 10. Casey Abrams is a really good friend. And Stefano, and Jacob Lusk, and Paul McDonald. All the guys, definitely, especially all the guys. We became very close. And Scotty McCreery, who was the season 10 winner. And also through Idol, I met so many other people. I met Chris Jericho, who's a good friend of mine. Yeah, a bunch. It's been wild, and it's been fun keeping up with people, and everybody's doing great things. Like, everybody from our season has been working in music and has made, a career for themselves, and it's really, really inspiring and really special that I was able to be on that season with everybody.
It was awesome. That does sound awesome. I want to meet Chris Jericho now.
I know, right?
Now, you appeared on late shows, obviously, after you got eliminated, of course. But what shows did you appear on exactly?
I was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno before he retired. I was on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon before Jimmy took over the Tonight Show. I've been on Ellen. I've been on Conan 2 times. I was on Regis and Kelly with Regis Philbin before he passed. Passed just recently. I was on The Doctors. I was on Dr. Drew. I've been on CNN a couple times. Obviously American Idol. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. That might be it.
Hey, you're loved, man.
A bunch of small town stuff, a bunch of news programs and things, and news stations and other MTV and VH1 things all over the place.
Now, what show out of all of them did you enjoy the most?
Oh, I think, well, when I was on Ellen, I talked with her for like 20 minutes, and her producer kept coming over to her and being like, come on, we got to go. We got other things to do. And she told her producer, no, just hold on. I'm talking to James. And her producer came to me afterwards and said she doesn't do that with anybody. So she really, really wanted to talk with you. And that was really nice. And also Conan, because I love Conan. Absolutely love Conan. And he was hanging out, and we were talking for a little bit. And he's huge. He's giant man. Giant, womanly looking, birdly man. But he's
Bigger than Andre the
I
Giant.
love him. Yeah.
Andre the Giant. Or anybody want a peanut?
So now I'm gonna. This is a surprise. I'm just talking to you. You're really like just seem like a quiet person, but does rock and roll like let that other side of you out?
Yeah, I mean, once I get on stage and once I'm able to do all that, definitely. I mean, before I called in, I was writing a new song, and for the most part, I mean, before a show and after a show, and most of the time, I'm a homebody. I have no problem just being inside and being alone. But I got a wife and 2 kids, so yeah. But you know, the most part, I'm just at home and playing guitar, making music. I don't talk much, but it's funny that, you know, once I start talking, you can't shut me up. But yeah, well, it's interesting that that's the dynamic with me, my personality versus who I am when I go on stage. I kind of put on a character when I have to be on, and take it off when I can.
Yeah, I just noticed that talking to you. What's your favorite song from you?
It'd probably be one of my new songs that I've got coming up on my album that'll be coming out early next year, depending on when this do you know when this is gonna air, this podcast?
Every 16 21 days, so 27th.
Okay. Ooh, then if this is airing on the 27th, then tomorrow will be announced that I have signed a record deal with Frontiers Records, SRL, and we'll be putting out some music very, very soon. I've got my first single from this album coming out in November, maybe November 19th, possibly, I believe. Not sure, don't quote me on that, but I think that's coming out November. And I've got some friends on it that I'm very excited to have people listen to, and I can finally let my flag fly with this one, because this is as heavy metal of an album as I've ever made, and the great step in the right direction for the music that I want to continue making.
Oh man, now you said it's metal, I'm checking it out.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome. What also led you to become a rock and roll music artist?
It's just my influences, just what I like the most. I mean, not everybody's into metal, not everyone's into rock, and it was a lane that I thought that I could take up well. All the music that I listened to and sung along to, and I've always been into music ever since I was little. And back then it was NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls and Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, all those things. I have 2 older sisters, so they weren't much help with the influencing the music. But now when I listen back to that stuff, it's incredible if you listen back to it. I mean, the songs are timeless. They're timeless hooks. They're written so well, you know, they're written for them, and the musicians that played on those albums, oh my God, now we're talking, like, just the best studio musicians, the tightest music and all that. But when I found rock and I found metal, you know, Led Zeppelin and even the Beatles, and just knowing what you can do with music, and you know, as soon as I found Led Zeppelin and Queen and Journey, and then moved into the metal with Motorhead and Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and Kiss and Sammy Hagar and Ronnie James Dio and Black Sabbath and Blind Guardian and all these like crazy, amazing bands and singers. You know, Rob Halford from Judas Priest, just the way he's able to sing, and there's like opera in there, and there's pop, and there's, you know, there's the metal that I listen to and the rock that I listen to has a hook, it has a chorus, it has differentiating parts to the song. You know, there's the intro, there's the verse, there's the pre-chorus, a chorus, another verse, another chorus, a bridge, a solo, a chorus. You know, it's very, you can figure it out, and you can sing along to it.
It seems like a big process.
It seems like it, but it's not really. I mean, once you think of something that can, you know, be sung and sung along to, it's pretty easy. Like if I bring my guitar out and you just go, you know, we'll just play a G. Da 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 stuff like that, and you just write to it and perfect it, and figure it out, and it develops and it changes, and you just change with it. It's pretty fun. It's not all that hard, It's you can play the blues. The blues is nothing but 3 chords and the truth. That's where you gotta start.
Yeah, man. And thank you for that mini concert, by the way.
Totally.
Now, we also know you were the lead singer of Quiet Riot for a couple of years. So what did you enjoy most about Quiet Riot?
Being on stage, singing Come On Feel the Noise and Metal Health, Bang Your Head night after night, and getting people up on their feet and getting people excited. And I looked at a band that I loved growing up. I loved that band growing up. And when I looked at what they were doing now, before I joined, and even now after I've left, they're back to the same old thing. I thought that I could bring a lot of life to that band that was missing, that used to be there when they had their original singer, Kevin DeBro, but he sadly passed away in 2007. And I looked at all the other people that had sung for them, and vocally it was great, but energy-wise and filling the, presence that Kevin left, no one ever even tried. And so that was something I knew that I could do my best at, and I'm a performer. And I love running around the stage and jumping in the air and doing knee slides and toe touches and back bends and screaming my frickin' head off. And I knew that was something that I could do. And I told myself I'd do it as long as I was still having fun. But at a certain point, as with all bands, especially bands that have been around longer, these guys have been playing those songs for years. And so, the thrill is gone in some ways. But at a certain point, the politics of it just got too much, and at the end of the day, it's business is business, so it just wasn't working out business wise.
Yeah, I heard you, but hey, at least you got the experience of it.
It definitely, exactly, I got the experience, and I still use my striped mic stand that I made for playing with them. I was bringing this one around tour. It's painted, but it started to chip and wear too much, so I started bringing my own roll of tape and would just stripe up my mics at every venue. That was a lot of fun. It was funny because the people that work at the venue would be like, "Oh, Durbin, you forgot your mic stand. You left your mic stand." I'd be like, "No, that's your mic stand." If it happened every time that they tried to give me one of their mic stands, if I was that kind of person and kept them, I'd have many striped mic stands with me. But the hard thing is you can't really take them on planes. That's tough.
Yeah,
unless they fold up enough.
And I also, believe it or not, have I downloaded one of my songs on my playlist is "Come On Feel the Noise" by Quiet Riot. So now that I hear you sing, I always think of you now. Now, you have a family, and that's awesome. I applaud you for raising a family. I don't know if I want a family yet, so I'm still considering the decision. Were there any autistic obstacles I had to overcome to having a family? Like when a baby cries, I know that can overcome some sensory problems.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, not really for me. The baby's gonna cry, and I don't know. I don't think so. Not for me. Once the baby's there, it's your baby. There's nothing that baby's gonna do that's not gonna make you love that baby, and you live with the bad, and you live with it. So is life. You live with it. You learn from it. Because when my kids are older and they're almost, my daughter's almost 6 and my son's 11 and a half, and when you see the pictures of them as babies, or you see somebody with a baby at a store, sometimes it's the baby's crying and you're just like, "Oh, I remember when you were a baby and you used to cry like that." So in some ways you miss it. In some ways you're happy with the way they are. But yeah, I don't think my conditions have really been obstacles for parenting.
When did you always know that you wanted to be a father, or did something change your mind, or did you just know you want to be a father?
I knew that eventually I wanted to. I've always loved kids and could always look forward to, being a dad myself. It just happened a little sooner than I thought it was going to happen. My fiance and I, now my wife, we've been together for over 12 years and going on 13. And we were expecting our first a lot quicker than we thought. I was 19, she was 28. But now I'm 31 and almost 32, and it's just such is life. You roll with it. You roll with it like the waves in the ocean. You just keep rolling with it and enjoy it.
That reminds me, have you heard of "Rollin" by Limp Bizkit? That's one of my favorite songs. That reminds me of that.
Yeah, keep rolling.
Rolling, man. Just out of curiosity, how did you meet your wife exactly? And
I met her. I was singing karaoke at this bar when I was 19, but I had been hanging out at that bar since I was 15, and they had like the certain timing where they were still serving food and minors could be in there. And then at a certain point, they just enjoyed my singing and were like, Durbin? Yeah, he can stay. Well, if anybody asks, we'll tell him he's 21. And so, yeah, I just hang out there all the time and sing, and I got so many hours of practice there. They say that you're not a professional at what you do until you've logged in 10,000 hours at it, and I think I got a majority of those hours there.
now let's talk about some pro wrestling, man. How about we do that?
Yes, bring it on.
All right. So, what do you like about professional wrestling exactly, and why do you like it so much?
Well, when I was a kid and I had come home from school and had a terrible day and got picked on and bullied and, was looking for an escape. And around that time, I had found music. I'd been given a hand-me-down guitar, and I got home and I played my guitar and practiced and, put my emotions into the practicing and the form and learning the music. And one day I had a bad day and I didn't feel like playing guitar. So I turned on the TV and I started flipping through channels, and I found Monday Night Raw, and I saw a match between Rob Van Dam and Jeff Hardy. And at that moment, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what is this? These are like live superheroes. These are like, I was always aware of wrestling and I knew people that liked it, but it wasn't until I really saw it for myself and fell in love with it. And it wasn't long before I had a subscription to WWE magazine and had the pictures of all the wrestlers. My favorite, I'd cut up the magazines and make collages and go to the flea market, find all the old wrestling tapes I could find. I started collecting the VHS tapes and the action figures and any merch and t-shirts and studying old wrestling, and I just fell in love with it. Yeah, I just fell in love with it. The performance of it, the show of it, it's like a concert, and
It's an action concert.
yeah, exactly. It's an action concert. Yeah, it's a dance. It's a ballet. It's an opera. It's a sitcom.
It's theater.
Yes, yeah, it's theater. Exactly. So I love it.
By chance, do you think that WWE or WWF, I don't know when you watched it, but WWE is similar to the way that we think sometimes, or?
I guess so. It's neurotic. It's all over the place at times. There's a bunch of different characters doing a bunch of different things, and eventually they all kind of collide at the show of shows. And yeah, there's I can definitely see it. For me especially, like creating my own persona to live in and my own character for me to feel most comfortable with myself and learn to get to know myself and be happy with who I am.
I am too. I'm still on that journey. I don't know if you are, but I still am.
I'm always a work in progress, but I'm content. If this is where I have to be, then I'm content with it. But I'm always trying to better myself and change.
That's how I feel. I'm with you, man. Now, who's your favorite wrestler, and what's your favorite wrestling match that you've seen? I'll tell you mine, actually, if you don't mind.
Tell me yours.
My favorite wrestler is Mick Foley,
Nice.
mainly Mankind, and my match is involving him. It's Mankind versus The Undertaker in your
Hell in a
house,
Cell.
buried alive,
Oh, nice.
Indianapolis, Indiana. That's my dad's
Nice.
favorite, what you just said, but my favorite is Undertaker Mankind in your house, because for me it was something new and something I don't think we've seen at that time. It was just a hardcore all over the place, like a basic hardcore match, because I'm not a big like guy and like big popular. It's like a basic but cool match at the same time.
For sure. Well, I've always loved the
Macho Man Randy Savage, yeah. Oh, yeah, 90,000 people. Pontiac, Michigan, yeah. This is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat's cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time, yeah.
So obviously Macho. I love Macho. I also love Chris Jericho, man. I can't lie. Even though he's a good friend, I still like when he came in, because he was on Dancing with the Stars at the same time that I was on Idol, and they film in the same room. like the not the same room, the same building that has multiple rooms in it, big studios. So it's like on the other side of this partition and this tapestry is like where Dancing with the Stars filmed, and right here where I am is where American Idol filmed. So one day, you're not really supposed to cross paths and cross sides, but one day, because I had just had Hulk Hogan on and tell me that I was going through, and Jericho heard about it and decided to walk over and be like, "What's up, man? You're a wrestling fan, huh?" I was like, "Oh, it's Chris Jericho. Oh my gosh." And Chris is always one of my favorites. Favorites are always Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, Undertaker, Macho Man, CM Punk. And favorite match? What's my favorite match? I love Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 19. That's a classic in Seattle. Ooh, what else?
Well, and we talked a little before. You said you liked an AEW. What about an AEW?
Ooh, I've been enjoying. Who have I been liking in AEW? I like Darby Allin. Darby Allin puts on some really interesting matches, and he's psychotic. But I think in AEW, I've really enjoyed most like the storylines. More and more, I'm more about the feeling and the story that they're telling. And yeah, sometimes the wrestling, I mean, now that they're not in front of audiences, and audiences aren't allowed in, it's very, very different. And a majority of AEW's last year has been, under these conditions, under these circumstances. So it's, I'm looking forward to when they can let people back in, and because that's kind of the whole point of performing. It's they're really performing and really doing more and connecting with the crowd and knowing what works and knowing what doesn't work when the audience is there. That's who they're performing for and the reason they're, doing it.
That's so odd because, to be honest with you, I don't notice it. To me, it's just
Really?
same. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's a little different, granted. I'm not going to lie with that, but I don't notice it. To me, it's just like, oh, there's no fans. Cool. And I don't know if AEW has, but they have the Thunderdome, so I don't know if
Right.
AEW can do it virtually or not.
AEW has allowed some people in the stands where they film.
Okay.
A place called Daly's Place in Jacksonville.
Gotcha.
And but yeah, they've done some fun things. The Stadium Stampede was fun, and AEW. But they're still growing and they're still working out the kinks and in their company. But yeah, wrestling's good.
Oh, it is, man. I can't lie with you on that. So now these just were some fun questions. So my first one is, what is your paradise meal, your favorite food, and why is it your favorite?
I could eat tortilla chips and guacamole. I could eat that anytime, endlessly. Sushi, love sushi, and I don't like sushi with I don't like to do the wasabi and the soy sauce. I like the sushi to come out, a nice roll, and it might have some unagi sauce or something, but sushi. I like sushi. I like the fish and the rice and the sauces and the eel. I like that eel. And yeah, I like the texture of it. It's a nice texture.
You like the aftertaste?
I like the aftertaste. Yeah, I like the aftertaste. What else? Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, that's my man. I love that's my favorite cereal.
I could destroy a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And the marshmallows in Lucky Charms. Just the marshmallows, not the cereal. And I can't eat. I don't think in my life I have eaten cereal with milk. I only eat it dry.
Whoa, I'm with you. I don't eat cereal with milk. I'll eat with chocolate milk, but cereal with milk, I don't know why. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess.
I only eat it out of the box.
Chug it out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah, out of a bag. Just.
So, what is your favorite movie or TV show, and why do you like it?
I love the Harry Potter series. I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Wayne's World. And favorite show, I don't watch a lot of shows.
Is American Idol?
Not my favorite. Let's see. What shows do I watch? I watch wrestling, I guess.
That counts.
Yeah, that's the only shows I ever watch. AEW Dynamite, Friday Night SmackDown, NXT, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Are you more of a SmackDown guy or a Raw guy?
Well, they just went all topsy-turvy on us, but probably SmackDown.
That's my man. I am too. I'm a SmackDown dude. $100. I want a shirt that says SmackDown Live. So now, what has been your favorite vacation that you've ever taken, and why did you enjoy that vacation very much?
Recently, January, I guess it would be. I was doing a show. What's it called? I can't even remember what it's called right now. It's been so long since I was there. It was Punta Cana. Punta Cana. Where is Punta Cana? Punta Cana is in. I don't know. I don't remember where it is.
Hey, we got the other part right.
It's in the Dominican Republic, and I was doing a show there at the Hard Rock Resort and Casino, and with a bunch of other people from Idol and different singing shows. Those shows are a ton of fun, and I went and did one, and then came back home, played a couple concerts that I had scheduled, and then my wife and I went out there, and it was our first vacation without kids in like 8 years.
That was nice, probably.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. Just the two of us, and it was awesome. Just hanging out on the beach. They had, since it's a resort, it's all inclusive, so you could walk up to any bar in the resort and just get a drink or food or anything, and that was a ton of fun. It was just nice to relax on the beach, have a drink with my wife, and swim in the ocean and just sunbathe. And we walked like super far down the beach past the resort and found some young coconut trees, and I was able to break one off and crack it open, and we had some fresh coconut water out of a coconut on the beach, and it was just great. Took a walk back, and it was nice.
I bet those. Did you use the coke? Did you break it with your hands, or did you use something?
I used like a rock and a limb of a tree that I found.
Works.
They're very, very tough. I found a young coconut, so it was softer.
Yeah, you played coconut ball instead of baseball.
Yeah, we busted it open.
You broke the coconut ball.
Broke the coconut like who broke the coconut? Who did it? Was it Roddy Piper broke the coconut over?
Yeah, that's what you did.
Jimmy Snuka's head. Yeah.
So what are some of your personal interests, and why do you enjoy those?
I've been really getting a lot into voiceover lately, and have been doing work with Disney and Disney Interactive and Amazon for voiceover stuff, and that's something I've always been very passionate about, and have always studied voices and how people speak and characters and developing characters and that sort of thing. I love art. I've sold some of my artwork, so that's been super fun. Yeah, those two things. Yeah,
that's cool, man. One of my friends is a big fan of art, so I'll have to recommend her to you. So what are some of your proudest accomplishments you've ever made in your life?
My kids, my marriage, my career, just the fact that I haven't quit. I've had every opportunity to quit. I've been very close to quitting many times, but I keep going and keep hustling and keep trying, and you're going to fail. You're going to try things, you're going to fail all the time. And I've had way more failures than I have successes, but the successes keep me going, keep me positive.
But you know what? I think failure is an opportunity.
Exactly. Amen to that. I've failed many, many times. I've been trying to do one thing, and the opportunity has come up many times, and I was either too blind to see it or wasn't ready for it and failed. Failed for the opportunity. And but if you keep working for it and you keep thinking about it and manifest it, it's going to come back, and it's going to come back when you're ready. And all those failures are opportunities for me to learn from them and to not make those same mistakes twice.
Yep, that is definitely right. So this is my final question. Are there any good memories that you want to tell our viewers about? If you do, why do you remember that memory the most? Now, before you answer here, I want a good memory and a funny memory.
Let's see.
Or a funny story. Will work too.
So, a good memory. American Idol was Songs from Movies Week, and I was singing a song called Heavy Metal from an animated film in 1984 called Heavy Metal, based on the magazine called Heavy Metal Magazine. And it was an art and culture magazine, and it had like fantasy drawings, and it's pretty risque though, but I love the song, and some songs by Sammy Hagar. And I was getting ready to sing that song, and I just become friends with Chris Jericho, and one of his best friends is Zakk Wylde, famous guitar player. And so I got a hold of Zakk Wylde, and Zakk was going to come on American Idol and play guitar with me while I sang this Sammy Hagar song. Well, as I'm preparing for all that, I get pulled into a meeting with some of the people that work on American Idol and said, hey, we've been contacted by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. A little boy named Cole from Michigan. His wish is to meet you, James Durbin, and hang out with you, James Durbin. And I broke down in tears, and I could not believe that. I could not fathom that somebody wanted to hang out with me as their only wish. You know, if they were going to die tomorrow, their last wish was to hang out with me. And that really, really affected me, and it still does. It's very humbling. I was so happy to meet this kid, and he had a double kidney transplant, stunted his growth. He's still kicking. He's still around, which is awesome. He just faces whatever obstacle comes to him, and he's had a lot of obstacles, still continues to have obstacles, and has persevered through all of them. And I cannot imagine going through that kind of a struggle myself, or watching my child go through that struggle. And I've loved catching up with him. I've loved every chance that I get to see him at concerts when I'm able to be in the area. And I just love the young man that he's turning out to be. And I feel really blessed and really honored that still to this day that I was his wish, because that's a really, really big deal, and means the world to me.
That is a big wish. The fact he's still living today, that's even more impressive and awesome. Now, what's the funny story?
The funny story. Give me a funny story. Funny. What's a funny story that's appropriate? What's a funny story that doesn't embarrass anybody else in the story? When I was on the American Idol tour, we were all getting really excited for the final night of tour, and for our last American show anyway. And we were all going to go out on stage in like these crazy costumes, and I'd covered my body in like tinfoil, and I'd wrapped a bunch of tinfoil all over me and made this tinfoil hat. And the stage manager was having none of it. His name was Bob, and he was a jerk. In my family, we love We Bare Bears cartoon on Cartoon Network, and they call people a dingle if they're being a jerk. And so Bob was a total dingle, as I say. He was a dingle supreme. And so Bob was having none of it, and I ran the other way around him on stage and ran out on stage in my tinfoil. He grabbed some of it, and he was having none of it. But we had a blast nonetheless. And then we went to the Philippines and did 2 concerts in Manila at the Araneta Coliseum there. And for that, I came out with one of my wrestling masks of an old wrestler called the Shocker, one of my favorite masks. So I came
The
out
Shockmaster?
The Shocker. He's a luchador. And
I heard of him.
Yeah, and then I got a tattoo. There's Spider-Man. I can't move my arm the right way. But
I saw him.
Here. I have a tattoo here of the Mother Mary wearing a Rey Mysterio mask. Let's see if I show you a little better. There she is.
Oh, I see him.
And it says because the Mother Mary is the Lady Guadalupe, I got tattooed underneath it Lady Guadalucha.
Nice.
Guadalucha Libre.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a good, funny story, man. And a good way to end it, because I think we're done here. But do you have any music you'd like to promote? I heard you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I've got new music coming out. New single dropping in November, so keep an eye out for that. And if you're listening to this on the 27th, tomorrow is the announcement that I have signed a record deal, and for many records and other projects and that sort of thing. And I'm happy to have found the perfect home for my vision of music I want to create, and the people that support it and share that same vision.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. So
Awesome.
Thank you, James, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too, Sam. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for joining for this episode. Please tune in for another episode coming very soon. Hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble. Thank you very much.